What's going on, y'all? So look, man, I'm sitting and I'm watching this back and forth between Devin Haney's father, Bill Haney, and Gervonta Tank Davis' trainer, Calvin Ford. And I'm watching how the two individuals are conducting themselves when they're talking about their respective fighters. They're the trainers for both fighters. Bill Haney is Devin Haney's trainer. Calvin Ford is Gervonta Tank Davis' trainer. Bill Haney is Devin Haney's father. Calvin Ford is a mentor and a father figure to Gervonta Tank Davis. But when I hear them talking about each other, Bill Haney being disrespectful to Tank, right? He disrespecting Tank. He talking crazy. Calvin Ford, he keeping it all the way gangster. Like he not slandering Devin Haney's name in any way at all. Not cursing or nothing. But really, like, let's talk about it. Hit my phone. You got my number. Hit my jack, and we can talk like men, and we can talk about all this. We can talk about a potential battle and a potential clashing of the two fighters, right? And I really, really listen to Calvin Ford. I admire Calvin Ford's relationship with Gervonta Tank Davis because through and through, Calvin Ford loves Tank unconditionally. Like when I hear him talk about Tank and how when he speaks about him, I hear the love for that boy. You know what I'm saying? And Tank is a man now, but Calvin Ford has been with Tank since he was a boy, a cub. And I see how much he's poured into Tank for real, for real. And I'm watching him, and it's like Calvin Ford could give a damn about, like, even if Tank wasn't as accomplished as he is, he could not be a world champion right now, and Calvin Ford would still love and admire Tank like he was his own son. And that's something that I think it's a valuable thing, a valuable relationship for a trainer and a fighter to have, right? Calvin Ford could care less if Tank didn't want to box anymore. He would still love Tank the same way. If Tank wanted to be a real estate agent, if Tank wanted to be a businessman, if Tank wanted to be a construction worker or whatever, he would love Tank the same way. And that's real, real love. I watch how Calvin Ford handles the other young men, the other young youth that he trains in Baltimore, Maryland. He has a gym. He's a trainer at a boxing gym. And I'm like, man, this young dude really, really care about the youth. I mean, this man really cares about the youth. And he talks about Tank like that's his baby. And essentially it is. Calvin Ford saved Gervonta Tank's life. And I don't think some people understand how much he did so. I can look at Tank and tell from mannerisms to his demeanor to just individuals he used to hang around to his background. Tank could have possibly been a stick-up kid. I hope not. I'm not going to put that. I didn't want that for Tank. Tank could have been a young kid running wild and reckless in the streets if it wasn't for boxing. Calvin Ford dedicated his life, his time. I'm sure Calvin Ford has children of his own, right? But I'm sure he spent countless hours in the gym working with Tank and other young men to keep them off of the streets and hone their skills in a craft that could be lucrative beyond measure. And that's what it's been for Tank Davis. I watch Calvin Ford talk about Tank, and he gets teary-eyed every single time he starts about to cry every time he talks about Tank. Because he's so proud of that man. He's so proud of that boy because he saw what he came from. Tank came from two parents who were drug addicted. You know, we hear about the Baltimore heroin addiction. Drugs were very, very heavy in Baltimore, Maryland. Tank's parents, they fell victim to drugs. They were living still, but they were in bad conditions. They became addicts to the drug. And it caused Tank to be separated from his parents and have to go to group homes and going with grandmothers and so on and so forth. And Calvin Ford poured and spilled his life into Tank. And without that, I don't know what Tank would be. But watching that man's relationship with I think every fighter needs to have that relationship with their trainer. I mean, everybody's not going to be with you from when you're a kid. They're not going to be, all the way through and through from the very, very beginning. But the love that he has, the genuine love that he has, the unconditional love that he has. Tank could have lost his last 5 fights. And Calvin Ford would have been feeling the same way about Tank. and love Tank just like it's his son still. I don't see a guy that's out for glory when I see Calvin Ford coaching, training Gervonta Davis. I don't see a guy that's trying to be Diddy all up in the videos, trying to get all the camera shine. For as great as a fighter that Floyd Mayweather is, Floyd be in the camera way, way more than Calvin Ford. Calvin cool with playing in the back as long as his boy, like his adopt, like really like an adopted son, long as his son Tank Davis is shining and doing his thing and he's winning, Calvin Ford don't give a damn about what type of fame and stardom he gets at all. And that's how it's supposed to be. He wants the best for Tank through and through, right? He wants Tank to be an upstanding man of principles, morals, and integrity. And I can tell he's probably had several talks about Tank and some of the life decisions that Tank has made. Some of the decisions where he went the wrong route, right? Because I've seen Tank be more mature recently. Now, in the back and forth with him and Devin, there's fighters bickering back and forth. That's what fighters do. But I'm talking about how he has conducted himself as of recently, how he even talked about Lomachenko and his loss. It was super mature. You know what I mean? So I know Calvin Ford has had a strong impact on Tank, and he's talked to him about a lot of things that Tank has been doing. But I'm here to tell y'all, man, Tank wouldn't be where he is today without Calvin Ford. And I know Calvin's not just solely invested in just Tank. He's like that with all the other young men in his gym that he trains. I follow Calvin Ford on Instagram. I see how much he speaks life into all of those young men. And for all the negative stereotypes that there are of black men, black fathers, Calvin Ford is a shining example. You know what I mean? Him, Barry Hunter, and guys like that, saving guys' life from the streets, saving them, giving them a new lease on life and loving them and nurturing them all the way through and through. That means something. That means something for me. I'm from the inner city, like I tell y'all. I'm from the inner city, Chicago, Illinois. I can only imagine if we had all these boxing gyms in Chicago, how many young men would be saved from boxing. How many young men's lives would be spared? And they would go on to a different route if you had a guy like Calvin Ford in the community, man. Like, you know what I mean? I'm looking at Bill Haney, how he talking, and just like Calvin just seemed like such a solid dude through and through. How can you not respect that man? How can you not respect a guy who treats his fighters like they're his own children? Bill Haney is Devin Haney's actual father. You know what I mean? So it's a different thing. Calvin Ford is not an actual father to these men, but he is he is a father to a lot of the men. A lot of the young men in the gym probably come from single parent households, probably come from backgrounds where, the parents are kind of dysfunctional, right? But Calvin Ford has stepped in and put a hand on these young men and guiding them along the right direction, the right path. And you cannot do nothing but salute that. That's honorable. That's honorable, man. A black man standing up and saving these young black boys from destruction. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And when I said Tank could have been a stick-up kid, I don't want to put a bad label on Tank. What I mean is Tank probably could have been running the streets if it wasn't for Calvin Ford and his tutelage. But when a fighter has a relationship with their fighter, there is nothing the fighter won't do. He know a guy like that in his corner. The levels that fighter could reach, especially with the potential that Gervonta Tank Davis has. Tank put on an excellent performance. He gave us an excellent knockout of Leo Santa Cruz. Spectacular, the best knockout of the year by far, in my opinion. Right? Tank always gives us exciting performances for the most part. I think that Tank will go even further with a guy like Cal. Now, of course, with Floyd Mayweather's mentorship and his boxing knowledge, Tank is even going to go even further. But with Calvin Ford right there being such a solid man, it's feeding him the right principles, feeding him just all the right things all around, giving him the right love, the care, the nurturing. Ain't no telling where Tank could go. In my opinion, Tank beats Devin Haney. I think it would be a great fight, skill for skill. I think Devin Haney's best bet to beat Tank will be to win a 12-round decision. But I think Tank could stop Devin. For real, I think Tank could hurt Devin. No lie, and I love that. I like Devin a lot. But I think Tank is really, really like that. I think if Tank fights Ryan Garcia, it's going to be one hell of a matchup. I think it's going to be great. Ryan Garcia's hand speed is quicker. He has much quicker hands than Tank. Ryan's a great fighter. I saw what he did to Francisco Fonseca. Knocked him out quicker than what Tank did, right? Now, that doesn't mean he's going to beat Tank just because that happened. But I'm going to give y'all for real. I thought Ryan Garcia was just a YouTube sensation. But he is a great fighter with exceptional talent. But I think in a matchup, it'll be a close fight. And I think that Tank will cut air with one of them uppercuts and will hurt Ryan Garcia in a major way and hit him with something he ain't never been hit with. And I always say this. I want to see what Ryan Garcia's chin is like. Can he take a punch like that? Because I don't know. I don't think he can. I don't know. Now, when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, that's a toss-up. Teo can crack. He can hit. He's a great fighter. He's skilled. I think it'd be blow for blow. But I think Tank got that dog in him to overcome almost anything, especially with Calvin Ford riding for him in his corner. Such a solid brother. Salute to Calvin Ford. Machiavelli Mills TV, I'm out.